everyone. Welcome back to the Op-Ed Average podcast, where we have a lot of opinions, but most of them are pretty average. For returning listeners, welcome back. For new listeners, thank you for joining us. First things first, I'm Anna.
What's up, everyone? And I'm Monica. We hope you all had a great holiday season. If you're listening to, or if you're watching this now, this is literally the day after New Year's Day for us. So,
Yes. So we're like in recovery mode at this point, right?
Bear with us as we try and get warmed up with 2024.
Yes, definitely.
But today's episode, we wanted to do a little twist on our Am I the Asshole segment today. Instead of Am I the Asshole, which you can find on Reddit, we wanted to try out Dear Abby and maybe, one day turn it into Dear OA. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That would be so cool. Ask us.
Yeah. If you want our unsolicited advice,
Right. Of course they do.
Yeah. So Anna, why don't you let people know what is Dear Abby?
Yeah. Okay.
Just in case.
Dear Abby goes way, way back. Like it literally started like in the 1950s. So it's something that I think was way more popular, years and years ago. I think it reached its peak like in the 80s. So for those who are too young or don't know what it is or, don't remember anything like that, Dear Abby is an advice column. It's an American advice column founded in 1956 by a woman named Pauline Phillips, but her pen name was Abigail Van Buren. So, that's where Dear Abby started. And I know she passed away like years ago, and her daughter now runs the column and does the answers and, gives the advice and things like that. So a couple things just to, to note about what Dear Abby is. So people would actually write, there was an address given out, like an actual address that was given out, and people would write anonymous letters to this, to Dear Abby. She would publish the letters and give advice to whoever, asked questions or whatever. I don't think all of them were ever answered because I'm sure that's kind of crazy to do. But at its peak in the 80s, her article appeared in 1,200 newspapers like around the country, and it ran around the world. So it's basically the same questions, but just, all over the place, all over the back then newspapers, right? So
Right.
Perhaps like the SF Chronicle or the Chronicle doesn't exist anymore, I think, right?
It doesn't?
I don't think it does. I think there was a big thing about it like in the early 2000s, I don't know, 2000s, that it was like,
maybe they're not in print. They're like
not in
online.
print. So I want to say, I don't know the history, but I want to say SF Gate might be like a spin-off or something like that of SF Chronicle. But anyways, so we have pulled articles, right, Juan? Do you want to explain what we're going to do?
Yeah, so me and Anna, we kind of did the same thing that we do with Am I the Asshole articles. We both were sent off on our own to do a little research, pick some articles out that we found interesting. And hopefully none of ours overlap, but we're going to share each other's finds and react to it, give our unsolicited opinions, or I don't know, maybe give our own advice.
Yeah. So in a sense, it is like Dear OA, because we're giving like our, advice on this. And one quick note that I wanted to share is that, this whole thing started in the 50s, right? Oh my God. There is this like link that I found with questions from like the 50s and 60s, and it's kind of mind-blowing. Like what
someone scanned the letters?
Yes, I have it here, and it's the first link that I have on. I'll read you one of them because it is so insane. It was like from the 60s, but it reads, Dear Abby, if you read the papers as well as write for them, you saw the article about the judge who gave a husband permission to spank his wife when she needed it. All I can say is it's about time. I was beginning to think that women were taking over this country. If more men turned their wives over their knee and showed them who is boss, society would be in better shape. Spanking should be legalized everywhere. And this is not like in a sexual way or anything anything like that. I think this is like
Mhm.
a disciplinary thing, but like you can just see like the
Whoa.
evolution of the questions. I mean,
Yeah.
the 50s and 60s were a way different time that they
Did
are
they have
now.
like you know how, they list like a tagline, like what their title problem is or whatever? Because you know how like
Yeah,
Dear
yeah.
OA, they're like,
Yes,
"Oh,
yes.
dear so and so."
Yeah, so here, this one is, "Dear Abby, this country needs more wife spanking."
Excuse me.
Yes, yeah. But she like, so she's known for, like, really, like, good responses. Like, she gives the I mean, obviously, this wouldn't be
Yeah.
around for, like, what, how many? Like, 70 years at this point. One of the funny things about the Dear Abby articles too is what they sign off as,
Uh-huh.
like, this guy, he signed off as one man's opinion. So everyone has, like, clever little things, but he said she put, "Dear man, there are at least two things wrong with legalizing wife spanking. Number one, when does spanking end and a beating begin?" Which is super valid, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
who is the final authority when a wife needs spanking? So, but a lot of her responses are funny. That's what she's known for too. They call them like
Yeah.
zingers.
Zingers.
Yeah, they're zingers, but like it's just crazy. But
Right, right,
I
right.
just wanted when I saw that when I was doing my research, I was like, "Holy crap." Like, and that's real. Like, I'll send it to you, we can link it, but it's
Yeah, yeah.
like it's basically like cut out newspapers that someone
Mhm.
like pasted in an article and showed what people used to write like years and years ago. So,
Right. That's
yeah,
crazy.
that is crazy. Okay, Mon, do you wanna start with one of yours?
Sure. I don't think mine's gonna be as,
Yeah, no, we'll keep ours
intense.
light. Yeah, we'll keep ours light. A lot of this is like, just like
Well,
we are the asshole. You gotta like pick and choose
yeah,
which
yeah.
ones are like appropriate or
So
whatever.
we're gonna, I mean, if we can, we're gonna try and link all of these articles in the description below because we have a
Yeah.
description now.
Yeah. Okay.
So let's see, which one should I start with? This one was, it's titled "Young Adult Weighs Difficult Decision." Dear Abby, I'm 24 and not where I want to be in life. I have goals and dreams I would like to accomplish. However, my family is super family oriented. I work for my dad in my family business. He always talks business with me. I do not want to go into the family business. I have my reasons, one being his side of the family works there and we don't get along. They've never accepted my mom, so therefore they don't accept
Ooh.
me. Okay, we're just jumping in there. The other reason is I'm not interested in the business. My problem is this is the best I've ever gotten along with my dad. I'm worried he will want nothing to do with me if I quit.
Aw.
On the other hand, my mom always has been supportive. I worry that if I move away, we wouldn't be so close. I just feel like if I go after my goals and my dreams, it will ruin my relationship with my family. What do you think? Eye on the future. Anna, would you
See?
like to reply to
Yeah,
Eye on the
I will.
future?
So, like, okay, so this one is multi-layered, right? So
Mhm.
I think that, like, I don't know, it reminds me of, say, there's a couple that's together, right? And one person gets this like amazing opportunity somewhere else. And if
Mhm.
you don't let them go, they may be like, like years from now, like regret their decision and be bitter with you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it kind of reminds me of something like that. Like as a parent, you want them to have like a stable job, you want them to be able to support themselves and all that kind of stuff. So I think that probably for this dad it's just like clearly if it's a good business he probably does pretty well for himself and all that kind of stuff. So of course he wants his daughter to fall into that to make sure that she has security and the finances to like support herself later on, but
I don't
the
know if
girl's
it
got
is a
dreams,
girl
right?
or a guy.
Oh, okay, sorry. For
Yeah,
some
I don't
reason, I thought, you had said it was a girl, but
it
maybe
just
not.
says, "I'm 24, not where I wanna be in life. I have goals and dreams." Yeah,
Okay. So the person,
the person,
we
yeah.
don't know,
Mhm.
um, a person has dreams, so I feel like you have to follow that, it's just like years from now, I feel like anyone would regret that decision, like never knowing what could have
Right.
been or whatever, and especially if like, you don't like your dad's relatives and you would have to work with them. That's a big thing that would probably kind of mess up how you feel about that job and stuff like that. And I feel like I wouldn't worry too much about I don't know, like being close to they said that they were like worried about not being close to their mom or whatever. Like
Mhm.
that's your mom. You'll be close, especially like this day and age, there's so many ways to keep in touch. It's different than it was like 30, 40 years ago where I don't know, you'd have to write letters or whatever to keep
Yeah.
in touch. So yeah, I feel like you definitely it's a hard decision for sure, but you have to like follow your dreams, I think.
Yeah. I mean, for what they're saying is that, they're family oriented, but you know how they like list their problems. The first one is the fact that they don't get along with the relatives
Yeah.
that do
So
work
it's more
there.
than that. It's
So,
yeah.
and then the second reason is because they actually aren't even interested in the business, which I feel like that should have been the first one,
Right,
and
right.
that should have been solidified, like why you shouldn't even be doing that. The second one with the relatives would have probably hit the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, yeah.
um, but I think what they were saying is that, yeah, if they want to work with their dad because they get along and it's the
Mhm.
best relationship that they've had in a while. But if they do decide to follow their dreams, that means moving away from their family.
Right.
So it's either, yeah, you stay at a job where you're not really interested, you might resent family, but at least you get to stay with them.
Yeah. I
Or
right,
you
right.
follow your dreams and leave your family, and you might be not be as close to them both, like, emotionally and, like, physically. So,
Right.
I don't know, I like kinda like what you were saying, in the long run, your parents are always gonna be there for you, and, it
Absolutely.
might be, like, a little rough in the beginning, but
Mhm.
yeah, it's the 21st century, and there's so many different ways to keep in contact, and, it's not like you leave and you can never come back.
Right. So that's another point is that this person is actually like I find this person to be like pretty fortunate because it's kind of you can kind of also think about it as something to fall back on, like
Mhm.
we unfortunately we know that sometimes dreams don't work out,
Right.
like, you try and all that kind of stuff, but it just doesn't happen. So you know that if it doesn't, your father does have something that you could try and maybe end up liking later on type thing. So I think that's one thing. But yes, I agree with you in saying that at first it may be pretty hard. The dad probably be a little bit hurt at
Mhm.
the person's decision, but I feel like if your parents love you, they're always gonna support what you do, even if it's hard for them at
Mhm.
first.
Mhm,
So,
mhm, mhm.
yeah. So,
Okay.
Mon, what did Abby say? What was her response? Just to see if it like aligns with ours.
Yeah, yeah. She writes, "Dear Ion, you are no longer a child. You are an adult who is overdue for a serious talk with your father about those goals and dreams of yours, as well as the treatment you have received from his side of the family. Write your thoughts down before approaching the subject with him. If your father loves you, as I am sure he does, he will want you to be happy as well as successful. If you can't find the courage to approach this on your own, consider enlisting the help of a licensed mental health professional to help you create some emotional separation. Wanting independence is not a rejection of your father, nor would gaining it guarantee you would no longer be as close to your mom."
So it's similar. We can do
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
Dear
guys can
Abby.
write in. We're giving similar advice so far. So,
Write to dear OA,
yes.
not
Yeah.
dear
We
Abby. I'm
won't
just
make you
kidding.
guys mail a letter.
Just DM us, it's fine.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's check out one of your
Okay.
articles, Anna.
Okay, so this one, all right. So, dear Abby, I'm a mother of four, soon to be five young children. Whoa. It is exhausting. My husband helps as much as he can, but sometimes we both need a break. My parents offer to watch the kids. The problem is, my parents and I have opposing political and worldviews. Sometimes they'll say things to my children like, "You're such a ditzy girl," or "You better find a good husband," or call a former president the devil. My
I
husband
don't
and I
know.
have very different opinions than they do, and we worry about their influence on our children. But honestly, sometimes we need their help. I don't think they can keep their opinions to themselves, but I don't want them anywhere near my kids. Holy crap. Is it hypocritical to accept their help? Different views in New Jersey. Woo, that one's a doozy.
Well,
But it's valid, right? It's stuff that people go through. So yeah.
yeah. I don't know. I don't have kids, so I don't know what it's like to be, letting my parents babysit my kids. I already do have like some worry
Concerns?
of like oh, what they could be telling them or like feeding them. And I know a lot of parents do struggle with like, leaving their kids with their parents or even their
Yeah, for
in-laws.
sure.
And it's like, it's a difficult subject to approach because, they're your family. And even more so, it's even more difficult to approach your in-laws, right? You'd need to have your spouse
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
to them,
It wouldn't be you doing it, it would probably be your spouse, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think it's hypocritical,
No, I don't think so.
but yeah, you can't really help what they're gonna tell your kids, and you just have to hope that your kids, when they come back home to you, when you pick them up, to not believe everything that
Yeah.
their grandparents say. I don't know. I don't have too much weight in this area, but Anna, what would you do?
I don't know. This is okay, so I think that, like, a very typical one that I've heard of and even experience, like, my in-laws, like, they totally watched our kids, like,
Mhm,
we talk about it a lot, like, we couldn't have raised them without our in-laws' help, like, we lived very close, my parents were far, and we had our kids so young that there was a time where my all our parents were still working, like, no one was really retired or anything like that,
mhm,
when we were raising our kids, so it was like, for this mom, first of all, like, she's gonna have 5 kids. I don't unless they make a ton of money, there's probably no way they could afford, like, you know what I mean? Like, outside
mhm.
help or full-time outside help, so
Right.
you're kinda stuck at this point, like, with those in-laws. I don't know, I just feel like as part of me thought about, like, I wonder how young they are, like, if they're at the point where they may not absorb it, but that's not right, you know what I mean? Like, kids are super,
Sponges.
observant. Yeah, they're sponges, so, like, even at, like, 3 years old, they could be calling whatever president the devil and, like, not
Yeah.
know what
I
they're
just gotta run
saying,
around,
and
"President's the
right, stuff
devil."
yeah, stuff like that, so I think it's really hard. I think that the only thing you could do is like have your spouse, since it's your in-laws, talk to your parents and maybe just ask them to like, maybe just scale back on what they say. The kids are impressionable, like,
Mhm.
stuff like that. I think it's really hard. It's going to be really hard for the husband too, because that whole
Oh, yeah.
dynamic is a whole nother thing.
Right.
But I think like more common than like political views and social views is stuff like when you leave your kids and stuff like you don't want them drinking a certain thing or you don't want them like eating like sugary foods or stuff like that. That's
Mhm.
more like I know that I talk to friends and stuff like that. That's super common when
Mhm.
it comes to like grandparents and stuff like that. So this is pretty extreme because it's like political views, but I don't think the person's being hypocritical. It's just a super touchy on one hand, they're doing you a huge favor. Like, you probably
Mhm.
couldn't find someone to watch 5 kids. Shall we read what Abby has to say? Do you have
Yeah.
more? Okay. Different views in New Jersey. So Abby starts by saying, "Dear Different, because you need their help and they are willing to babysit the grands." Ooh, okay. I don't consider accepting it the least bit hypocritical. Your children are too young to know who I'm not going to say who the president is. I don't know if, and are likely not to place any importance on what your parents say about him. I do, however, take an issue with planting the idea in a little girl's in a little girl's head that she's ditzy and her only goal in life should be to marry someone. Your
Mhm.
daughter is growing up in a very different world than your mother was raised in. These days, girls are expected to follow their own path, get an education, work, and become independent. Marriage, if that happens, comes later. So,
Mhm.
you and your husband should tell your children in an age appropriate way that their grandparents love them, but there are different ideas about things that mommy and daddy do, that they have different opinions. Then reinforce that because they're smart, honest, good, and other virtues you'd want to implant in their heads. Wow, so that's interesting. So this one, she doesn't say for them to talk to the in-laws
Mhm.
because they need their services.
Well, so clearly you need babysitters, so you
Yeah.
can't approach it like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of like what I was saying. It's like uh the kids, although when they get back to you, it's kind of like you redirect them or you remind them of, grandma and grandpa aren't always right.
Yeah.
and, and
Oh
it's like,
god. That's
yeah.
great. Imagine turning the kids turning around and telling grandma and grandpa that mom and dad said you guys aren't
Mom
always
said you're wrong.
right. Yeah. Oh man. I think it would have probably benefited. I don't know. It does, I think, depend on like how old the kids are. Like you don't
Sure.
know. That's another super interesting one.
Ugh. I'll revisit that once I
Okay.
have my own kids, but okay. Here's another article. It's called Family Can't Stomach Dad's Kitchen Creations. Clearly, a lot of these revolve around like family and
Yeah,
stuff. I mean,
just
most
like
people
my
have
asshole,
issues.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the thing that, like, makes the world, like, go around is your family. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Dear Abby, my husband loves cooking for the family. Unfortunately, he's a horrible cook. My kids hate what he prepares, so most of the
Aw.
food goes in the trash. I have had many conversations with him about this, begging him not to do it and telling him if he wants to cook, he should make something for himself. His reply is always, I'm not forcing you guys to eat my food. You are welcome to eat something else. But when we do that, he sulks and ruins everyone's day, so we end
Oh
up giving
god.
in. I don't know how to get through to him about this. Tastes bad in the East.
I love these, sign-offs or whatever. They're
You
so
gotta give it to
cool.
them. The submitters, their
Yeah.
little, they have their little zingers as well.
Yes, yes, super creative.
So, what would you do if
Oh god.
if
For one
Ab
thing,
was a terrible cook and
oh god.
you guys didn't like it?
Av can cook like one thing well. He knows this. We've had this conversation. He cooks a really good steak. Like he
Oh,
won't allow
mhm.
me to cook the steak. Like he has to cook the steak, but everything else and he doesn't care because I'm sure it's kind of funny how the dad like wants to cook because most people would want to get out of that like
Right,
duty or whatever. Dang,
right,
that's
right,
a
right, right.
hard one. Yeah. I don't know. Like that sucks. But, like, oh god, like, imagine, like, trying to eat food that's gross, like, every night or, like, every so often and stuff like that. That would kinda suck, but appreciate the effort, like, I wonder how old again, like, it doesn't say, like, how old the kids are.
Nope.
That would have been helpful because I feel like if they were I don't know, but little kids are picky too.
Mhm.
So I don't know. What do you think? I feel bad for the dad, but I could also totally understand if it's gross. Like I wouldn't want to eat that.
Yeah, I
So,
feel
and
like
clearly she's already communicated it with him and
yeah.
he's just not like listening, but
Well, she's communicated that he just needs to stop,
yeah.
but I feel like she could have approached it as he's not very good at cooking. So why don't you make it like an experience or a bonding time to teach him how to cook
Yeah,
or
that's true. Like let's
cook
all
with
do this
him?
together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
And
let's do this
so
together.
I mean, if the roles were reversed and it was like the wife who is doing all the cooking and it's
Yeah.
not that great cooking, but your family doesn't want to eat it. I mean, regardless if it's good or bad, that
Right.
it sucks.
Yeah.
and
I
so,
was thinking about, like, exactly what you said about, like, I mean, I don't know, like, put him in charge of, like, the salad or, like, or I don't know. We don't it's not like we have a lot of different things that we eat, but if you were like, my parents, like, when they have dinner I don't know how your parents do, but there's so many different things that they have in, like, one meal. Like, there's, like, couple like, maybe 2 meats, like, vegetables, like, I cook, like,
Oh,
1 dish and, like,
yeah.
rice or whatever. So,
Mhm,
like, if it was a situation where there was different things being made, then you could have, the person that doesn't know how to cook, like, "Hey, you could be in charge of, like, this one thing," or whatever. That's I don't know, it's hard with the information that's been given, but I
mhm,
feel bad for the dad because I feel like that's really cool that he makes the effort to, like, cook for his family. Because I think that a lot of people not saying it's like a male thing, but it's a pain in the butt I hate cooking every night, you know?
mhm.
It's a total chore. So I'd be happy to have like someone cook for me. But
But if Av didn't cook something well,
yeah,
like it
yeah. I
tasted
get
gross,
that
let's
too.
say, then what
Yeah.
would you do? You would just say,
Yeah.
"I'm not eating this."
Yeah. Exactly.
And it's like, "Well, you don't have to eat it."
Yeah. On the other hand, I can share, like, sometimes, like, I'll cook something and he'll
Mhm.
say, like he won't say I don't think I'm a bad cook, like, I think I'm better than how I feel about it, like, I feel like my food's not good, but I think it's not that bad, and Ab says something about it, I'm, like, super offended. Like, I feel like
Oh.
it's like, "Dude, I did all that work, just shut up and eat it," you know? So
I'm
maybe I'm
sorry,
not
Ab.
well, like, I don't think it's like, I don't think it's like what the woman is describing, like, it's, "Oh my god, it's so bad," or whatever, but if there's stuff that he doesn't like or whatever, I get annoyed by it because I feel like, "Dang, I put a little, like, effort into that," and you're just
Mhm.
like, "Dang, we spiraled. What are your thoughts?" So, Mon, first for you, like, can I ask, like, who cooks? Like, do you cook or does Jay cook or
I mainly cook,
Mhm.
and it's just purely because, I get home first and he gets home late. I'm not gonna wait for him to cook dinner because I will be hungry.
Right, right.
So, I tend to cook, and I am not like a chef,
We're not proficient cooks.
I'm not a professional proficient cook or anything of that sort. I have
Mhm.
dishes that I'm good at, decent at, and there's some that I'm
Mhm.
trying to learn. And
Yeah.
I will admit there are some dishes that I have over seasoned or under seasoned. And I'm apologetic about it. It's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. You don't have to
Yeah, I
eat
say that
it."
too. Yeah, I say that I'll do that in advance sometimes, like, "Sorry, I don't know how this is gonna be, but here you
Yeah.
go."
He's like, "Did you taste it while you were cooking?" I'm like, "No."
Do you get offended?
No, I don't think I get offended, I get really sad.
Oh, okay.
'Cause I just wanna make good food for us,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
sometimes it's not up to par.
I mean, it's not like I mean, to be honest, like, cooking is like a talent, right? Like, I
Mhm,
guess, like, obviously, like, there's, like, rock star chefs or people that own restaurants, like, we're not those people, so we're trying to make do, like, with what we have, and it's not easy, so sorry. But Jay will tell you if he doesn't like it.
no. He'll tell me he won't say that he doesn't like it, he just says, "Oh, this could probably have used, like, a little bit more seasoning,"
Mhm.
or, "It's a tad bit salty for my taste," or something like
Okay.
that. So, he's not, like, abrasive about it, and
Right, right. Neither is Av.
he's not gonna tell me stop cooking.
Okay, Mon, what did, sorry, did you give your advice or, like
I would have said to just, volunteer to help cook with him and make it a bonding experience with your
yeah,
spouse, 'cause just straight up telling him not to cook at all is kind of rude, and,
yeah.
yeah, if, you'd rather cook instead, I mean, if he really wants to cook, like, why would you stop him from trying to learn how to cook?
Right. Or they could also do like HelloFresh, call us. But,
Hello,
stuff
French.
like that, like, to help him, with cooking, you know what I mean? That's a good way to learn how to, navigate the kitchen better, I think, like, it's all,
Mhm,
like, portioned out apparently, and, they give you, like, the step-by-step instructions and all that stuff. So stuff like that, I think, maybe
mhm.
could assist in their issues, so
Yeah. This is not sponsored, but if you would like to sponsor us, HelloFresh, we're
I'd
open.
be happy to have you. Yep.
So Dear Abby replies, Dear tastes bad. You can talk till you're blue in the face, and your husband will still not get the message because he doesn't want to hear it. He doesn't care about the waste. Of course, you and the kids could explain exactly what you don't like about what he's prepared and offer suggestions about the seasoning, etc., which might help him. And perhaps you could all cook together from time to time.
There you go.
In the future, when your children achieve independence and family gathers, each family member may want to bring their own food with them. However, while they live under your roof, they'll have to accept what their father insists on giving them. So my advice fits
Yeah.
somewhere in there,
Yeah. I
but
don't
she's
even
very like clearly your husband doesn't get
Yeah.
it.
And you know what? That's super valid. Like, I don't know how oh, you said yours is like just a few years like you picked some that are very recent, but like
Mhm.
that's super valid too about the waste. Like it's definitely not the time. There's so many unhoused people out there that are not eating and, just waste. Like that's something that sucks
W
if so I also feel like so is the dad not he's saying like you guys don't have to eat it, but he's making enough for everyone. It
Mhm.
sounds like, right? So it
Mhm.
should be also could be a conversation in advance like I'm cooking, this is what I'm making. Do you guys want to eat this or is it something that I'm just making for myself?
Mhm.
Just to cut down on all this. So,
Well, I don't know if it's okay to assume that he's wasting it, because what if he's just eating it after, like,
yeah, that's
what if he's
true.
taking it to lunch the next
Yeah,
day?
he's making baon the next day with the
Yeah,
food. That's true.
he's meal
That's
prepping,
true.
I don't
Yeah.
know, but if he's willing to eat it, if he's willing to eat the food that he makes for himself,
Stuff,
like,
yeah, yeah, then just
then
let him
I don't know if
yeah,
it's okay to say that he's wasting food, it's just not something that his family
should be
prefers.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting. Okay,
interesting.
that's an interesting one.
Let's get another,
Okay, this
article
is a
in there.
light one, okay? This is
Okay.
a light I wish these had dates, like,
Oh, yours don't?
mine don't. I don't know, for some reason these don't, but okay.
Oh,
This is a no, this is the one that is like I think these are a little bit older, like more
okay,
than a couple years old. So, and they're kind of
okay,
funny and interesting. So, okay.
okay.
I'm laughing already. Dear Abby, I'm the happily married mother of two teenage boys. The other day, I overheard my older son, age 17, talking with his friend about twerking. I have never heard of it, and now I'm worried. Is twerking a drug term? Is it similar to tripping, getting high, or catfishing? My
Oh.
17-year-old is supposed to go to Princeton next year on a sports scholarship, and I'm afraid twerking will derail him from his career path. Thank you for any advice you may have. And then what was her name? Troubled Mom in Connecticut is her sign off
Well,
name.
troubled mom in Connecticut. You might have to worry about twerking affecting their time at Princeton. It
I
depends on which
don't
people he
yeah.
hangs out
Yes, yes. Princeton is a
with.
I don't know if they twerk there. That's just a funny one that I wanted to throw in there.
Oh, it can't be that old because twerking is not that old of a
Yeah, yeah. I would say this
concept.
is probably from the last maybe 5 years or you think it's newer than that or
The
older?
last decade or so, I
Last
don't know.
decade, okay.
I
You
don't
know,
know.
I this made me think so my little group of friends that I chat with pretty much on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So it's like we have like Noah's the oldest, obviously, but we all have kids that are like, teenagers. I have one friend whose kids are like in college. We have high school kids in this group, and we often talk about the words that they, blurt out and all that kind of stuff. And like, you guys, what does this mean? So like the latest one from like one of our conversations was Riz, right? Like
Oh,
Riz.
do you know what that is?
I do know what it means, but I learned it from them. But so for me, I think it's a little different because Noah's old. He's like 24. So I don't really think that he uses like, I think that's maybe like a high school thing. Like, I don't know. I have no idea. Do you
I don't
use that
know.
term?
I don't use a lot of lingo nowadays. Um, I say nowadays, I'm pretty sure.
No. But like, it's so interesting. Like this, there was this thing that I watched. I don't know where I watched it. Maybe I don't really go on TikTok, so I don't wanna say, like, I think I saw it on TikTok, but apparently, like, the new generation, I think they're called, like, the alpha generation, the
Oh.
youngest ones, and they asked them, like, "How would you say, like, blah, blah, blah?" And just the way they said it, I was like, "What the fuck are they, like, talking about?" Like, it was just, like, every generation has their lingo and all that kinda stuff, but,
If there's any Gen Alpha out there listening to this, millennial and oh, yeah,
Gen
just a mil
X. Gen
I'm
X, I'm a Gen
Gen
Xer.
X?
I am.
No, isn't
I
Gen X oh, is that before the millennials?
Yeah, the Gen Xers are before, so I think, like, right now of the people that are living, right? So the oldest ones are, like, our
So
parents.
morbid.
I know, the ones that are around. So our baby boomers, like, our parents are baby boomers, I think,
Yes,
right?
we
Or
think
are your parents Gen X?
no, no,
Okay, so,
they are
I
boomers,
yeah,
I feel like.
Av and I just not always, but we have this conversation. So the older one our parents are baby boomers, I'm a Gen Xer, you're a millennial, and then there's Gen Z?
Z.
And
Mhm.
then is there a Gen Y? I
I
don't
think the
know.
Z turns into the alpha, so it's like 'cause Z to the A,
Oh,
'cause it just
okay, okay.
resets,
Yeah,
so
so it's like I don't know the correct term, but it's like Gen Alpha, I don't know exactly what I'd never heard of it
I
until
don't
those
know.
kids were talking, and I would say they're probably like 8, 9, 10 years old, so I don't really know kids that age, I think,
We should
like,
have
I'm
an
not
episode where we go through, yeah, current lingo
Yes.
and lingo from, like, the olden days that, like,
Yeah.
we should try and guess.
Yeah.
Well, I will
Oh,
try
yeah,
and
that would be
guess.
so fun. Yeah. Okay, so,
We'll
like,
have that in
I
the
have
future.
something so and this is, like, super what we're talking about. So, Av and I are rewatching Game of Thrones. So,
Mhm.
we're, like, on season it was, like, the episode when Jon Snow and
Spoiler.
Daenerys yes, when they got together, and
Mhm.
then, I was like I was not doing it on like, I was doing it on purpose just as, like, a joke, but I was like, "Damn, she's hella sprung off him." Do you know what that means?
Well, yeah, wasn't there a whole song of, like, "I'm sprung"?
Oh, is there? I don't remember.
Oh,
But,
don't
like,
make me
yeah,
sing
it's
it.
no, I would never do that. But, I mean, that would be such a fun episode, like, if we had maybe, like, if we had someone from each, like, generation and then
Oh,
said something and see if I don't know, or, like, I don't know, but just
I don't know
yeah.
that many people.
But, oh, maybe we could make it one of our YouTube, like, not episodes, but, like, we
Extra
could have
content?
extra content, there
I
we
don't
go.
know how we would get
Okay,
that.
okay. So, this is just a funny one that I threw in there, but I just wanna share what dear Abby said because
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
funny what she said.
What does she
So she
say?
said, "Don't panic. Tripping and getting high, as you already know, refer to altered states of consciousness as a result of drugs. Catfishing is something else. It's pretending to be something you aren't, creating a false identity on social media, usually to pursue a deceptive online romance. The twerking your son is referring to is a dance move made famous by Miley Cyrus, in which the dancer, usually female, gyrates in a provocative semi squatting position that involves thrusting hip movements. I mean, she's got it down. But okay, I want to just say in my
Uh-huh.
Gen X, like as a Gen Xer, tripping is something different. I don't know if you know that, but tripping was like the first stage when you started like talking to someone. Do you know that?
I remember you saying this, and why is that?
I don't know. But like seriously,
Tripping?
like if we
I
talk
use it
to
in
people
sentence.
like it's not going to clarify anything, but it's like do you know like how like say a couple first starts going out and they're not official yet, like they're talking. Do you know that term?
Like the honeymoon phase? Or no? No, no, no.
No, it's just so it's just
What do
see,
you mean
it's so
talking
different.
like it close?
Yeah, talking. Like I swear, like, are there any Gen Xers out there that know what I'm talking about? But it's like, I think
Help a
it's like,
millennial out,
yeah,
please.
but it's something like that. But oh my god, this is so good. This is like
Okay.
good, like future. episode stuff that we could do. But okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was fun because I thought that was so funny. Okay. Mon, do you have another one?
I do. I
Mon
have
the
2 more.
Mon
I
the
don't know how many
millennial.
more.
Okay.
Yeah, I should put
We'll
that
do
on
like
my thing.
maybe we'll do
Millennial.
yes, we'll
This one's okay, I will just tell you the articles and you tell me which one you wanna hear. I haven't
okay.
read them yet, but so one article is young adult has trouble building relationships. The other one is mothers make own parents pay to see the grandkids.
Whoa.
Which one would you rather hear?
Um, I wanna hear about the grandkids and pay.
Okay. Okay, we'll save the other one for another time. Dear Abby, I am the mother and stepmother of 8 wonderful children. Whew.
Thank God I chose this one.
I love them all very much. The problem is my 2 oldest stepdaughters. Both are in their 20s and kids of their own.
Oh,
Unless their
wow.
dad and I consistently give them money, we don't get to see our grandkids. Anytime we refuse, we don't get to see them for months at a time. These 2 stepdaughters are rude to their dad. Unless it's almost a holiday or they need money, they never call or text him.
Holy.
If we disagree with anything they say, they don't bring the girls around for months or answer calls or texts. We have given them a lot of money and we buy all the gifts for the kids. When we asked what the girls want for their birthdays, one stepdaughter said a dollhouse that cost almost $200,
Holy crap.
which is a lot for a birthday. When we said that seems more like a Christmas gift, she got upset. I have told my husband that at this point I'm done and will no longer keep paying to see my grandkids, but he insists he's not giving up on the grandkids.
Aw.
I'm not saying to give up, she puts in quotations, give up, but it breaks my heart to keep going through this. Any advice would be helpful. Mrs. ATM.
Nice. I like it. Good job, ATM. Okay.
Oh.
That's you know what? It's very sad, but I feel like this is common,
It
but
is?
not it well, like people I've heard of this before where people like weaponize their kids. Like where it's just like if they fight with their parents or whatever, like say like if it's it's exactly what you're saying, like, an adult child has
Mhm.
kids of their own, and the grandparents are desperate or wanna see love the kids so, so much, and if they disagree with something that, their child, um I don't know, views or some sort of argument or whatever, they'll be like, "You can't see the kids." Like, I've seen that before. It's really, really sad. Like, not I don't think I've ever heard of anyone doing it like money-wise, like you have to buy them these
Right.
gifts, but definitely like keeping them from their grandparents because of like an argument that they had and stuff like that's really sad. And I don't blame the grandparents, like or the grandfather who like doesn't want to give up or whatever. I'm sure he loves his grandkids and stuff like that, but that's messed up. But
Yeah.
it's yeah, it's dude, that's crazy. So they get upset if they say no.
Mhm.
Sounds like when they said no to the dollhouse or the dollhouse is too much.
Yeah, because I guess in relation to the mom who's writing in, these are her stepdaughters.
Oh, it's
So,
the dad's got it. It's probably the dad's daughters
yeah.
or her husband's daughters.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, I know it's hard when it's like you're a step parent in the
Yeah,
situation, so
yeah.
it's like, "Oh, you're not the real mom," or whatever, which just
Right,
sucks.
right.
But it seems
Yeah.
like she loves their kids and, yeah, these 2 older stepdaughters, they're adults with kids,
Mhm.
and yeah, I think that's really wrong of them to be using their kids as
Yeah.
some kinda leverage to get what they
Yeah,
want.
when you guys have kids and stuff like that. When you get older, you hear about other situations, but I personally actually have seen this, like, for real. But, like, I think that I now that we've like in my head, I didn't really not I didn't understand, but I didn't sort out in my head like the relationship. So those are her stepdaughters. And I can see why the dad won't give up. Those are his grandkids
Mhm.
type thing. And it also makes me wonder like what her relationship was with those girls, like, as they were growing up or whatever, because that could also like affect like her opinion. But it's not cool. Like, grandparents aren't there
Yeah.
to be milked for gifts or whatever.
Unless they're treating the situation like, she's the stepmom and their dad married someone else who isn't their mom, that it's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, well, you aren't, like, anyone important, and,
Right, right. Like
we
you
get to
don't
decide."
yeah, or
Uh
like you shouldn't have an opinion on what, our dad gives our kids or,
Mhm.
stuff like that. So,
Yeah,
whew,
but the fact that the stepdaughters are already rude to their dad, again,
yeah.
I think maybe it's because, like, maybe the dad is the one who caused the split and
Yeah.
he
There's
married off to
definitely
someone
like
else.
a lot of layers here that of
Sure.
course like, we don't have all the information and stuff like that.
Yeah. So in this situation, what would you do if you were the stepmom and
I mean, I would
your grandkids are being held hostage?
yeah. I would tell my husband, like, if it's one thing, like, what if you couldn't afford it? That's first, one of
Mhm.
those things. Like, what if you couldn't afford it? I would probably tell my husband, like, of course, like, we're happy to give them gifts to make them happy, but when the kids are young, they're probably not going to know the difference between a $200 and a $50 dollhouse. Any pink sparkly house will make a kid happy, I think. I don't know what I would do in that situation. That's hard, but I would probably talk to my husband and just,
Mhm.
kind of be like, we can give them gifts, but maybe you should talk to your daughters and just say, like, we don't have the funds to give, like, and they have 8 kids or what, apparently, or whatever. So more grandkids to come and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's hard. What would you
Yeah.
do? Or how would you like
I would
respond
probably
to the
do the
situation?
same. I would probably, try and well, if they're obviously not listening to me because I'm the stepmom,
Step.
I would have, yeah, my husband do the talking and because they're their kids. Yeah, I mean, the only thing I could think of doing in adult way is to sit down with those stepdaughters and be like, "Hey, I don't appreciate you like keeping your grandkids away from us
Yeah.
just because we
Yeah.
won't give you money."
Right. Right. Oh,
um
gosh.
it seems like they are young
Yeah.
parents
In their
who
20s,
don't
right?
really know, what they're doing, and they act very much like kids still, regardless of
Yeah.
age.
Yeah.
So
What did Abby say?
so Abby says, "Dear Mrs. ATM, how sad your stepdaughters, both of them, aren't bothering to even be subtle about their emotional blackmail, which borders on elder abuse. The
Wow.
only way to break the cycle is to refuse to allow it. However, if your husband can't be convinced, there's nothing you can do to stop what's happening. Most clear thinking individuals stop doing things that don't work once they wake up to that fact. But as long as your husband lets his emotions dictate his actions, nothing will change." Yeah, that's all
Yeah.
she's got. So it's like, yeah, it's up to the dad,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
husband.
they're his kids, they're his,
Mhm.
that type of thing. So if it's basically up to him to make some sort of
Set the
move with his
precedent.
daughters. Yeah. And that's
Mhm.
another thing that I was gonna say is just like when a child is born or whatever, like if you start giving them extravagant gifts right away, it may
Mhm.
be like expected throughout their life. And, someone might not be able to like keep up with that lifestyle or, that type of thing. So you
Mhm.
definitely want to, and if they have 8 kids, they're going to have more and more grandkids. And how are you going to
Mhm.
buy one grandkid a $200, dollhouse and then something less for another kid because that's what you can afford? That's just not fair, I think.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Okay, let's hear this last article.
All right. All right. Dear Abby, I divorced my cheating husband, but my mother keeps inviting him over to her and her dad's house. Not only does she invite them, she's now inviting one of the women he cheated on me with. She tries to justify it by saying she isn't going to keep him out of our daughter's life. Our daughter lives with my parents, but she's 23 years old. Am I wrong to be angry and for telling my mom she was wrong for choosing him over me? Our daughter is an adult and she can go visit her father. Cheated on again in Colorado. Aw. It doesn't make sense to me why she's inviting him. I think
Mhm.
that her mom is that's very hurtful, I think. I mean, it's one thing. I understand like when people get divorced, like they're close to the families and so I see this a lot like with friends and stuff like that where the families are very intertwined, they were
Yeah.
married for a long time, there's a lot of love there and that kind of stuff. But I mean, for one, this is a situation where the husband cheated. And then now to bring the woman over that she was he was cheating on her with. So I think that it's for me, I feel like it's a betrayal from her mom. Like that's probably super painful. I would
Yeah.
probably cut her off. I would probably hold my daughter hostage for my mother.
So in this situation,
In
it's
this
totally
situation, it does.
justified.
No. I mean, I don't think you can hold a 23-year-old from seeing anyone, but this is weird. But yeah, what do you think?
Invite the ex-husband, but don't invite the woman he cheated on her with.
Agreed. Yeah, I think that's the kicker. I think that that's what I mean, she's not happy that the husband's getting invited over there, but I feel
Mhm.
like that's one of like it is what it is, especially if the daughter lives there. But to bring the other woman that he cheated on her with is like a whole nother thing, I think. I think
Right.
that's wrong.
That's totally messed up. I understand that you wanna keep your daughter's father, biological father in her life, but she's 23 years old.
Yeah.
It's not like well, I mean, I guess I don't know how long ago she divorced her cheating husband, you know? Yeah, if she wants to, she can go see him.
Exactly. She like I said, she's not a child that, like, needs to be brought,
Yeah.
to see her dad or whatever.
Yeah, I think
So,
it's just way overboard and uncalled for him to bring his lady friend.
yeah.
I mean, it's already one step of betrayal, like you said, that your mom is still inviting him over,
Yeah.
even though clearly he messed up your relationship.
Yeah. So the
Um,
thing is also like if the you know what I mean? Like if there was no third party and you guys just grew apart and split up or whatever, then yeah, that's one thing to keep the relationships with, the people in the family. But if he did something to you, like he cheated, I feel like your family should be like loyal enough to like
yeah.
support you in that and not like be friendly with, like I
I
don't
mean,
know.
unless
That's
your
just
daughter wants that to happen. I mean, and I don't
right.
know if your daughter has any say, even though she is an adult. If your daughter wants him around, then sure. But still, don't
Yeah.
invite the lady friend.
Yes, yes. So this was Abby's advice. So she said,
Mhm.
"Dear cheated on, your mother entertains your husband and his lady friend." She did the quotations
Lady friend.
because for whatever reason, she can't let go of the relationships. Your feelings are justified. When the good Lord handed out mothers, he should have been chosen one more supportive. This is why it's important for your emotional well-being that you move forward with your life. You can't control your mom, but you can control how much time you spend with her. That's
Damn.
pretty much what I said. You're gonna probably have to cut a little bit of that relationship because that I feel like that's disloyal, like, like that
Mhm.
that I'm sure like the betrayal I think is valid. So
Yeah.
Mon,
Yeah, that
before I
sucks.
know we said that was our last one, but there's like this one-liner question that I
One-liner.
thought was like so funny. It was like a zinger, I guess you could say.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's literally okay. It says, "Dear Abby, what's the difference between a wife and a mistress?" The sign off name is Bess. It says, "Dear Bess, night and day."
What the heck? Why would someone even
I
ask
don't
that?
know. I
Well,
don't know.
I'm surprised
It's
she even
weird.
responded to
I
that.
know, I know. So I think that's like one of the things she was known for was like, these
It
like
doesn't sound like she's as
zingery.
zingery.
Maybe her daughter's not, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it
I
would be
mean
interesting to like know like the differences like, in responses
right.
from Abby, her like original Abby, and then now her daughter who runs it. But I
Yeah.
think she's been writing this. The daughter has been writing this for a really long time as at this point. So
Maybe if this episode does well, if people are interested, maybe we could go back to the older Dear Abby
yeah,
things,
yeah,
because that one that you said in the beginning, that spanking
right,
should
yeah.
be
But yeah, I thought that was fun.
that was
That's
very
really
fun. That
fun.
was definitely
Yeah,
interesting. I mean, they're definitely the articles are obviously shorter because 'cause they're just, like, little letters, but we
they're
definitely covered a lot
handwritten
more.
letters, probably.
Yeah, but, yeah, that's kinda, like, all we had for this episode. We hope you all enjoyed it, and I don't know, if you guys enjoyed this episode, if you wanna hear more, let us know down in the comments, leave us a review. There's so many ways to tell us that you enjoyed this
Yes, yes.
content, but, yeah, I had a good time talking about all these
Yeah,
different,
and you can
articles,
also, feel free to DM us or comment on our post about what advice you'd give. What are your opinions on,
for sure.
the articles that were sent in, or the articles that were the letters that were published? So
Yeah,
yeah,
if you want to send us, like, a little anonymous DM, if you would like us to give you some advice.
yes, yes.
We're not professionals at all, but
No, no.
if you
And we
want to
promise not to
amplify.
like reveal any, they're
No, it would definitely
anonymous.
be
Yeah.
completely anonymous.
Mhm.
And yeah, maybe down the line we can have our own little Dear OA segment later
That'd be
on.
so
If not
fun.
a full episode, maybe we could do like a
A
little segment
segment.
during the
Yeah.
episodes that we film in the future. But yeah,
If you've listened till the end of this episode, give us like a letter emoji or a notebook, or like, isn't there one with a woman that's like screaming or something, or like her profile and there's like stuff
is
coming out of
there?
it?
I
I
don't
think I've seen
know.
that. So it's just like perhaps a woman giving advice. So
Yeah,
please
sure.
feel free.
Sounds good. Don't forget to follow, rate, and subscribe to our podcast on Spotify or any of your favorite podcast platforms. And obviously, don't forget to like and subscribe to this video so you can stay tuned to all of our future video podcasts. You can also follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. Check us out there and chat with us or ask us any questions
Till next time, stay OA.
in the best way. Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone. Hope you enjoyed our advice.
Bye.